Let's do this. Let's go with the flow. Peace be within me, kindness and love. Speak, people, peace in the world. Peace be within me, kindness and love. Spirit, come, fill Please remain standing and join me in the words of our covenant found on our screen. Is that not dropped? Yes. Here we go. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its call. It's not working. Let this be our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Here we go. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are in your life journey, you are welcome here. Whoever you are, whomever you love, whoever you are on your life journey, you are welcome here. I am Michael Leuchtenberger, and I get to serve as the settled minister of this caring, this curious, this compassionate, and ever-evolving congregation. It is good to be here. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on your life journey, you are welcome here. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. Yes, please be seated.
Welcome to worship. It is so good to be with you this morning in person and online. My name is Dory LeCount, and I serve as the Family Engagement Coordinator for this music-loving, family-loving, and children-embracing congregation. We are here to support each other on our own and our shared journeys, centered in love, compassion, curiosity, courage, and joy. I am especially happy to welcome first-time and returning visitors. If you are a visitor, we hope you will find us a community eager to welcome you and respectful of the path that has brought you here today. Anyone wearing a colorful floral stole, I have one down here, is glad to answer any questions that you may have. There is written info in the pew folders and at the visitors table for you to take. For our online participants, it would be wonderful if you introduced yourself on the chat so we know that you are here with us today. Our church buildings are located on the traditional homelands of the Pennacook Abenaki people, past and present. We acknowledge with honor and gratitude the land and the people who have stewarded it for generations.
For a complete listing of church events and news, check out our weekly e-bulletin or copy of Parish Notes, our monthly newsletter. Here are a few highlights. Our children's program Open House and Engagement Fair happens today, immediately after the service. Everyone is invited to have some coffee and refreshments in the Armenia White Room, which is out these doors and then down the hallway, second door to the left. I will be stationed there, encouraging you to enter that room. So stay to see the upgrades we've made to our children's open program and spaces. And then check out the Abenaki Room right next door, which is where our youth group gathers on Friday evenings. And finally, head out to the courtyard for the engagement fair, where you can learn about the many things you can do here at Concord UU beyond Sunday morning worship. Coffee, tea, and cookies are also available in Fellowship Hall and in the Abenaki and in the Armenia White Room before you go out to the courtyard. For kids ages 5 and up, our Young Explorer program will be meeting outside today. Younger kids are welcome to stay in our Rainbow Room nursery. And the Vagabond Theater for ages 8 and 17, led by Sin Riley, will be meeting here in the sanctuary after the service. UU Mystery Match sign-ups will begin today, so swapping of messages will start October 19th, 2 weeks from now. These services is this evening at 7 p.m. If you like to sing more of the kind of chants that we started our service with, it's an hour of that kind of experience, candlelights, and some calm. Tuesday, all are welcome to join our weekly welcome table dinner at 6, a free conversation-rich meal of plant-based, low-packaging options or food with gluten-free options. And then on Friday at 10:30, we will resume our Elder Circle of Healing and Wholeness. Please join us if that speaks to you. Each week, we light our chalice to set this time apart and to mark it as sacred. If you're at home and you have a candle or chalice ready, I invite you to light it now as Raina lights our chalice here in the sanctuary. Rise up, O flame, thy light glowing, show to us beauty, vision, and joy. Rise up, O flame, rise up, O flame, by thy light beauty, vision, and joy. I'm sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I'm sending you light to hold you in love. These are the lyrics for our introit this morning. I invite the choir now to come forward as the piano begins to play.
It is a blessing to be.
It is a blessing to be.
It is a blessing to be here.
It is a blessing to be here.
It is a blessing to be here now.
It is a blessing to be here now.
It is a blessing to be here now together.
It is a blessing to be here now together. Thursday was Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the Jewish calendar. Heather, our accompanist, who also serves as the accompanist at Temple Beth Jacob, the Jewish congregation here in Concord, encouraged me to come to the morning service, and I'm so glad I went. Despite my German background, I have always felt very much welcomed by the members of Temple Beth Jacob, TBJ, and thanks to the 2.5 hours of readings and music, and more readings, and more music, and one sermon, and a second sermon, my heart and soul felt truly able to settle in that sacred space and time. I deeply appreciated being a part of a communal practice of moral inventory and repair. Jewish tradition teaches you must seek forgiveness for those you've harmed before Yom Kippur. God can't forgive interpersonal wrongs, only the harmed person can. And I didn't systematically ask forgiveness from others before the service, but I did reach out in a few directions to make amends. And after about an hour of reciting prayers, partially in Hebrew, a language I do not speak, I felt this unexpected emotion welling up. I had tears in my eyes, though I didn't really understand why. There was a power to the ancient words, the ancient melodies, the ritual of touching the Torah as it was moved around the space that spoke to my heart and broke it open. I just let the emotions be. Grateful I had no role to play that required me to manage my heart or my appearance. There's something radical about the idea that the confessions, the atonements on Yom Kippur are in plural. It doesn't say, I have sinned. It says, we have sinned, we have betrayed. Even if I didn't personally commit certain wrongs, I am a part of a community that might have or that did. And this challenges my notion of responsibility. What does it mean to hold myself accountable for the actions of an entire community, our nation's policies, the systems I benefit from? What if our congregation built in regular practices of making amends and not just processing feelings internally? Where have we fallen short? Who have we harmed? How do we repair? I didn't fast, as is the custom, from sundown to sundown, and yet knowing most others were fasting made me wonder about the UU emphasis on comfort and affirmation. What might I learn? What might we learn from a tradition that believes transformation might require just a bit of discomfort? Our theme this year is building bridges. Thank you, Heather, for building or for guiding me towards this interfaith bridge. May each of us build and cross many more bridges in the months to come. So now I invite you to join me in some moments of reflection on our own collective actions this past year. Please rise in body and spirit and respond to each narration with the sung words, we forgive ourselves and each other, we begin again in love. For remaining silent when a single voice would have made a difference. We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. For each time that our fears have made us rigid and inaccessible, we forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. For each time we have struck out in anger without just cause, we forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. For each time that our greed has blinded us to the needs of others, we forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. For the selfishness that sets us apart and alone, we forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. For falling short of the admonitions of the Spirit, we forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. For losing sight of our unity, we forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. For those and for so many acts, both evident and subtle, which have fueled the illusion of separateness, we forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. Please be seated. I would love to invite all the young and young at heart to come forward for Time for All Ages with Dory. Come on down if you're upstairs in the balcony. Come on forward, whether you're young in age or young in spirits. As long as you can get off the ground on your own, that would be lovely.
Today we are hearing a story about a child named Elle and a broken vase. And this is a story that asks us to think about the way that we care for others and the ways that we make amends. Doing the things we think is right might make us feel like we are making a difference, but what happens when we start by asking the other person or the other people what they need? It is a cold and rainy day. Elle has just come back inside from playing outside, and her fingers are cold, and her body is shivering, and she's looking for something quiet to do inside. She kicks off her rain boots, she kicks off her jacket, and leaves them by the front door, and then she turns, and she sees the vase that sits on the front table, the vase her mother loves, the vase her mother kisses every day before she leaves the house. For good luck, her mother says. I know, says Elle. It's covered in dust. I will dust it. Elle runs to the closet and grabs the duster. She begins to dust the vase very carefully, just like her parents taught her. She's getting all of the corners when suddenly, oh no, thinks Elle. The vase is destroyed. Mommy will be so sad. What will I do? She's sitting there, feeling sorry for herself, when just then she hears the door open. Who's coming home? Mommy. Mommy, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to. She sees the look on her mom's face. It's okay, Elle. Let's go get the dustpan. So together, Mommy and Elle begin to dust up the pieces. But the whole time, Elle notices that Mommy doesn't look too happy. Are you sad, Mommy? She asks. Yes, Elle, but it's not your fault. The rest of the day goes by. Elle plays with her brother. Her parents make dinner. They eat together. But when bedtime comes around, Elle notices that only Daddy comes to tuck her in. Daddy, is Mommy mad at me? No, Elle, she's not mad at you. She's just feeling really sad right now. About the vase? Elle asked. Yes, about the vase. That vase meant a lot to her. Uh-oh is right. Uh-oh. Elle is feeling really sad. Oh no. How do I make Mommy feel better? I can't believe I did this. This was so, She's getting herself all worked up, but then she says, I know. We have a whole bunch of vases in the kitchen underneath the sink. Mom puts flowers in them whenever people bring over flowers. I'll just get one of those and put them on the table, and then she'll have something to kiss in the morning. So Elle gets out of bed, runs to the kitchen, opens up the cabinet under the sink, and grabs the vase. Perfect! She runs it to the front table, puts it down where Mommy will see it in the morning, and goes to bed. In the morning, it's a Saturday. She runs into Mommy's room and she says, Mommy, come look, let me show you what I did. And she grabs Mommy and brings her out and shows her the vase. She's so proud. Mommy takes one look at that vase and bursts into tears. Mommy right back to her room, and Elle thought, oh no, I've really messed up. What can I do to make her feel better? So she thinks and she says, well, when I'm feeling sad, I really like it when Mommy makes me tea. I'll make Mommy some tea. She brings Mommy a cup of tea. Thanks, Elle, Mommy says, but she's still crying. I know. I will glue it back together. So Elle goes to the trash, gets out some glue, pulls out the pieces. Uh-oh. There's too many of them. But still she tries. Mommy, look what I'm doing. She shows Mommy her pieces glued together. And Mommy says, thanks, Elle. And she starts crying again and goes out to the back porch. Nothing is working. Why can't I make Mommy feel better? Elle wonders. Then Daddy comes over. And Daddy says, Elle, I noticed that you have been trying really hard to do things to make Mommy feel better. But have you tried asking her what she needs? Elle thinks, no, I haven't. I think you should. So, Elle walks out to the backyard where she sees her mom sitting in her favorite chair looking out at the flowers. And she said, Mommy, I'm really sorry that I broke your vase. I really want you to feel better. What do you need right now? And Mommy says, Thank you so much for asking, Elle. What I need right now is time. That vase belonged to my mommy, your grandmother, and she gave it to me before she died. And losing that vase makes me think about losing her. So I just need some time. Would you sit with me for a while? Of course, says Elle. So Mommy and Elle sat outside looking at the flowers for a while, telling stories about Grandma. Some made her mom laugh and some made her mom cry. But soon, they moved inside and started going through old pictures of their grandmother, of her friends, of their family. And as they're going through the pictures, Elle noticed there was one that made Mommy really, really happy. It was a picture of Grammy with Elle and her brother. I know, said Elle. What if I put that in a frame and put it on the table, and then Mom can touch it every time she goes? That's a great idea. Mom, I have a... Wait. Mom, I noticed that you really like that picture of me and my brother and Grandma. Is there anything we could do with that would make you feel really happy? Says Mom. Thank you for asking, Elle. I would really love if we got one of our old frames and put that picture and hung it up in the hallway. That way I can see it every day before I leave the house. That's a great idea, Mom, said Elle. And so together, they got a frame. They took Mom's new favorite picture, and they hung it up in the hallway, where Mom could see it every day before she left for work. And so as we move through our lives and our days, let's think about the ways that we can stop and pause when we see someone who looks like they're in need of help. And instead of doing what we think is right, which is not necessarily bad, was making Mommy tea a nice choice? Yeah. What about trying to fix the vase? Was that a good choice? Yeah. But was it what Mommy needed? No. So the way to find out what people need, sometimes we have to ask. And so I encourage you all to think about, next time you see a friend or a family member in need, pause and ask them.
Thank you so much, Dory. Those of you up front here, if you are able to rise in body or spirit, the rest of you can stay seated as we sing our children's blessing. Once through, and on the second iteration, please join Dory out the doors to Young Explorers. May our minds be open to new learning. May our lips bring truth into the world. May our hearts know love and our hands do the work of justice as we go our way in peace. As we go our way in peace. Our minds be open to learning. May our lips bring truth into the world. May our hearts know love and our hands do the work of justice as we go our way in peace. As we go our way in peace. We now turn to the joys and the sorrows we carry individually and as a community. Will you take a breath with me? As we surrender to this moment, let us notice our body resting, grounded, supported by the earth. And as the piano begins to play, you're invited to come forward, light a candle or place a stone at the table to your right, or add a note to the Holding Our Grief wheel. Today's joys and sorrows we will hold in silence with no public sharing at the microphone. I invite Judy to light one more candle on behalf of those who are not with us today or who chose to remain seated. Whether your joys or sorrows have been named or remain in the silence of your hearts, know that you are not alone. May we hold our earth in our hearts with joy in her nature, in awe of her majesty, power, and resilience, taking responsibility for the hurts that we have caused her. Will you take another breath with me? This week, we hold in love Dot Young, Amanda St. John and family, and the Marsh Morrison family. Please join me now in singing our musical meditation, number 1012 in our teal hymnals, When I'm Frightened.
Strong for me, sing to me quietly.
If you will show me compassion, then I may learn to care as you do. Then I may learn to care. When I am angry, will you still embrace me? When I am thoughtless, will you understand? Will you believe in me? Stand by me willingly. Will you share some of your questions with me? If you will show me acceptance, then I may learn to give as you do. Then I may learn to give. When I am troubled, will you listen to me? When I am lonely, will you be my friend? Will you be there for me, comfort me tenderly? Will you share some of your feelings with me? If you will show me commitment, then I may learn to love as you do. Then I may May that be so, and amen.
On Earth, just a teaspoon of neutron star would weigh 6 billion tons. 6 billion tons is equivalent to the weight of every animal on Earth, including insects, times 3. 6 billion tons sounds impossible until I consider how it is to swallow grief. Just 1 teaspoon, and one may as well have consumed a neutron star. How dense it is. How it carries inside it the memory of collapse. How difficult it is to move then. How impossible to believe that anything could lift that weight. There are many reasons to treat each other with great tenderness. One is the sheer miracle that we are here together on a planet surrounded by dying stars. One is that we cannot see what anyone else has swallowed.
Our anthem was commissioned by Chris Lamb in memory of her brother. She shared that her brother was a part of and a supporter of the LGBTQ community and asked that the piece celebrate the values of respect and inclusion her brother stood for. Mark Miller, composer of the music and the words of our anthem, began work on the composition in 2021. And the words, "I won't give up on you, don't give up on me," kept coming back to him. In the midst of the pandemic, he realized that he was singing this song as much for him as writing it down for others. He needed to be reminded that we will make it through these recent, painful, and traumatic years. We will sing through the loss and overcome fear and hatred together, and that although it might seem vanquished for a time, love will rise again. The lyrics remain as pertinent today as they were 4 years ago. Love Will Rise Again by Mark Miller. Here's a story I came across recently. It was a great morning, the kind of morning that seems to carry its own heaviness. A woman was walking to work across the bridge that spanned the river at the edge of town. Halfway across, she stopped. There by the railing sat a pair of men's shoes, neatly placed side by side, facing the water. Something about them made her pause. They weren't discarded or carelessly tossed. They were arranged, as if by someone who cared about order, even in despair. She felt her chest tighten. She looked down at the slow current below, and then back at the shoes. She didn't know the man who had left them. She didn't know what sorrow or exhaustion had brought him here. But in that moment, her imagination crossed the distance between two lives. She felt the ache of another human heart, and she stayed. She didn't walk away. She called for help, and she waited. One quiet figure on a gray bridge, standing between despair and possibility. Later that morning, rescuers found the man, cold, shivering, but alive, sitting downstream on the riverbank. In the days that followed, the woman found herself changed. She noticed things she hadn't before. The tired look in a cashier's eyes, the silence of the neighbor who used to wave but now didn't, the heaviness in a friend's laughter. Each face, each moment became a reminder. Someone, somewhere, might be carrying a pain that we cannot see. And slowly her empathy became compassion, not just feeling another's pain, but choosing again and again to be a presence of care. That story evokes empathy because it draws us into a moment of connection without explanation. We feel what the woman feels, her unease, her care, her willingness to stop. We sense the unseen man's pain, and something in us aches to reach across that gap too. Empathy begins when we feel the shoes left behind, when another story touches something in us that says, I know that kind of pain. And compassion begins when we take the next step, when we choose to stay on the bridge, to reach out, to listen, and to act. Empathy is a powerful emotion. It is foundational in our relationships. Empathy is the bridge between isolation and connection. It's how we transcend the fundamental aloneness of being individual consciousness trapped in separate bodies. There are moments when the suffering of the world feels close enough to touch. A friend's grief, a stranger's cry for justice, the headlines that break our hearts. All of us reaches into us and we feel. That capacity to feel with others is what we call empathy. It's the deep knowing that our lives are intertwined, that another's sorrow, another's hope somehow lives in us too. At its core, empathy is the capacity to recognize that other people's inner worlds are as real, as complex, and as significant as our own. It's the antidote to solipsism, at the idea that the self is all that can be known to exist. Empathy creates the conditions for trust. We can only risk vulnerability with people who we believe can imagine what our experience feels like. Without that, sharing our authentic selves feels like shouting into a void, or worse, handing weapons to someone who might use our tender places against us. It enables repair after rupture. Every relationship involves hurt, misunderstandings, disappointments, clumsy words. Empathy is what allows us to say, I see how that affected you, and mean it. And it transforms conflict from a battle of competing needs into a shared problem two people can face together. And empathy generates moral behavior. It is hard to intentionally harm someone who's suffering, you can vividly imagine. This is why propaganda often works, by blocking empathy, by dehumanizing others so we can't feel what our actions might mean to them. Conversely, expanding our empathetic circle expands our moral circle. It makes love possible in its fullest form. Romantic love, parental love, friendship, all depend on the capacity to hold another person's reality alongside our own. To celebrate their joy as genuinely as our own, to feel protective of their vulnerability, to adjust our behavior based on understanding their needs. But empathy is also inherently limited and requires cultivation. It is easier with people similar to us, right? We naturally empathize more readily with people who share our background, appearance, or experiences. Bridging to empathy with those we consider different requires imagination and effort. And empathy can be manipulated. Empathy for one group can be weaponized against another. Think of our children. Or is it think of our children? Right? It can inspire both compassion and xenophobia, depending on who counts as our. And empathy alone, as precious as it is, can leave us trembling. It can flood us with sadness, overwhelm us with helplessness, and even drive us to retreat. The spiritual journey asks something more of us, not only to feel, but to respond, to let our empathy mature into compassion. Empathy says, I feel your pain. Compassion says, I am moved to help ease it. Empathy opens the door. Compassion walks through that door. The movement from empathy to compassion happens when we take a steady breath between feeling and then acting. And in that breath, something shifts. We remember that love is not only an emotion, it is a practice. We realize that care is not only personal, it is communal. And we understand that compassion does not require us to carry all the pain of the world, but to share the healing of that. Years ago, a Buddhist teacher told of watching a monk stoop up a small bird that had hit the window. The monk held the trembling creature gently in his hands, whispering, I cannot take away your pain, little one, but I can make sure you're not alone in it. The essence of pastoral care in a single sentence. A moment stirred by empathy and transformed into compassion, crossing even a species boundary. To move from empathy to compassion is to do what we can where we are with love. We often speak of empathy and compassion as spiritual practices, an opening of the hearts. But they are also quite literally written into the fabric of our bodies. And in the 1990s, scientists studying monkeys made a remarkable discovery. When the monkey reached for a peanut, certain brain cells started to fire, but those very same cells also lit up when the monkey simply watched another reach for the peanut. These we call mirror neurons, the cells that let our life echo one another. Later, scientists found out that we also have them as humans. When we see someone smile, the same neurons fire as if we are smiling. Can you smile? Yes. When we see someone cry, the same regions of our brain activates as if we too were weeping. Our bodies are built for resonance. Like when we see someone stub their toe, we wince, not out of choice, but because our brain is replaying their pain. This neural resonance is what lets us literally catch emotions. Psychologists call this emotional contagion. It's the first step in empathy. We literally feel with another being through shared neural pathways. In short, mirror neurons let us feel connected before we even think about it. They are the biological foundation for the spiritual truth that we are interdependent. Karen Armstrong, in her book, 12 Steps to a Compassionate Life, writes, tragedy, Aristotle believed, educated the emotions and taught people to experience them appropriately. As he watched a drama unfold, a small-minded person would see his own troubles in perspective, and an arrogant person would learn to feel compassion for the unfortunate. As they learned to identify with the suffering hero, the Greek audience found themselves weeping for people they might otherwise shun, for Medea or Heracles, right, who in a fit of divinely inspired madness killed his wife and children. At the end of Euripides' Heracles, Theseus, legendary king of Athens, embraces the broken man and leads him gently off stage, the two bound together in a yoke of friendship. An audience that could befriend a man who had committed an act like that of Heracles, had achieved a Dionysian ecstasis, a stepping out of ingrained preconceptions in an empathy that before seeing the play, they would probably have deemed impossible. Tragic drama reminds us of the role that art can play in expanding our sympathies. Plays, films, and novels all enable us to enter imaginatively into lives, into other lives, and feel a sense of empathy with people whose experience might be rather different from our own. We can find ourselves moved to tears, our mirror neurons firing as we witness the pain of characters in a movie, even though our rational minds tell us that their suffering is, of course, entirely fictional. Armstrong suggests that when we have been affected in this way, we should not be too hasty to forget the experience as we leave the cinema or put the novel down or back on the shelf. We should let the pathos lodge permanently in our minds in the same way as Athens made home for Oedipus and the human needs. Staying with the experience seems even more important when the sorrow or the joy are not fictional, but are real here and now. That is one reason I like to conclude our joys and sorrows during worship with a musical meditation. The music and the time it takes to sing provides space for empathy and compassion to linger and deepen. It trains our neurons, yes, and our hearts to be more compassionate during the rest of the week. So if you feel emotions during the service, I invite you to lean into them, to experience and observe them as you experience them, to trust the container created by the service to hold you, to hold them gently and tenderly. And most weeks, the emotional arch of our worship will offer a path back towards inner peace, hope, and even joy. Yet it is also true that if mirror neurons are left unchecked, we can experience empathic distress, absorbing another's suffering until we feel helpless or paralyzed. Watching the news, reading about one disaster after another, people suffering from war, injustice, famine, missing health care, abuse, neglect, loneliness, a lack of affordable housing. The list goes on and on. The list is overwhelming me right now just reading it. I cannot. You cannot. We cannot absorb all the suffering that is out there and expect to remain healthy and functional. The mirroring of emotion has to be combined with awareness and care, integrating the mirroring of emotions with the prefrontal cortex activity, right? The part of the brain responsible for regulation, perspective taking, and moral reasoning. So may there be a quiet turning that happens in the mind and the heart. A moment when feeling becomes movement, when sorrow becomes service, when love becomes a verb. Empathy whispers, I feel your pain, and compassion answers, you are not alone. Empathy feels the tremor in the world. Compassion steadies the trembling hand. Empathy opens us to another story, and compassion says, let us write a new one together. We're not asked to carry all the suffering of the world, only to let it open us, to let us teach us how to be human, to let it draw forth the deep well of care that waits in every one of us, and that waits in us as a community. Empathy opens the door, compassion walks through it, and we certainly cannot walk through every door that opens, and hence we have decided as a community to focus on communal compassion in a few areas, right? Homelessness, refugees, living in harmony with the earth. It doesn't mean that we are not aware of many other doors that could be opened, and yet compassion commands us to pace ourselves so our impact will be real and sustainable. May our hearts break open, not apart. May our love not be felt, but lived. And may we remember the story of the woman on that gray morning and the shoes left behind on the bridge. May we too be those who pause, who notice, who care, who help build the bridge from empathy to compassion. May that be so. Amen. And Ashe. Thank you for your generous support of last week's outreach offering to support the Crop Hunger Walk. Today's community plate supports our Pastoral Support Fund. The fund is used to provide confidential assistance to individuals and families in our congregation and the wider community who are facing a crisis such as hunger homelessness, lack of heat or electricity, or in need of medical help. Our morning offering will now be gratefully received. May we be transformed by our giving. May the world be transformed by our gifts. Please rise in body or spirit as we sing our closing hymn, number 1014, and our teal hymnals, answering the call of love. The promise of the Spirit, faith, hope, and love abide, and so every soul is blessed and made whole. The truth in our hearts is our guide. We are answering the call of love. Hands joined together as hearts beat as one, and golden by faith we dare to proclaim. We are answering the call of love. Listen with that open heart of yours. Stay curious. Have courage. Be kind and compassionate. Embrace the mystery. Welcome awe and live always the way of love. I now invite you to extinguish your chalice at home as Jim extinguishes our chalice here in the sanctuary. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of this faith we share, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Now please join me in singing our unison benediction, and if you're comfortable joining hands or elbows, go ahead and reach out, and if not, reach out with your heart to all of us worshiping with you, knowing that you are not alone.